Sponsored by Qatar Airways.
You've been watching Sky News. Coming up at 2 o'clock, we're going to bring you all the very latest as protesters clash with police in Russia in demonstrations across the country in support of Alexei Navalny.
Hello, this is Sky News at 2. These are the headlines. The wife of the Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny is among hundreds detained at a Moscow rally as tens of thousands of protesters demand his release. Senior doctors call for an urgent review of the 12-week gap between the two doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine.
No other nation in the world has adopted the 12-week delay like the UK. I mean, all those other countries are also suffering similar pressures of lack of vaccine.
No early easing of lockdown as scientists warn the UK coronavirus variant may be more deadly than the original. And Storm Christoph may be gone, but flooding causes devastation to homes in Worcestershire.
Stress levels through the roof. I'm going to have nowhere to live for about 3 or 4 months while they fix it.
Good afternoon, thanks for joining me. The wife of the Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny says she has been detained at a rally in Moscow as tens of thousands of protesters demand his release. The Kremlin has warned against people attending the demonstrations, and more than 1,000 protesters have reportedly been detained. Mr. Navalny was arrested last Sunday when he returned to Russia from Germany following his recovery from the nerve agent poisoning that he blames on the Kremlin. Our Moscow correspondent Diana Magnay can bring us the latest now from the Russian capital.
We're now hearing that there have been already 860 detentions in cities across Russia, and I would say there have probably been hundreds already in Moscow also. As you said, Yulia Navalnaya, Alexei Navalny's wife, came here to the protest. She posted a picture of herself, and she has been detained. There's somebody who seems to want to be telling me something loudly. Yulia Navalnaya was almost inevitable. Almost the whole of kind of Navalny's tight inner circle, if you will, at his anti-corruption foundation have been detained over the last couple of days. But Yulia had made a very emotional tribute to her husband yesterday, saying that he had taught her everything she knew, how brave he was, and how she was going out onto the street for him and for everything he wanted to do for this country. And so she has been detained, and I think that these detentions will keep going through the day. I have a feeling that it's going to be a long day and night in St. Petersburg, Moscow, and all the other cities across Russia where this is going on, and where the police promised that they would crack down, and they are.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that, Diana. It looks somewhat controlled, certainly the images that we're seeing. How are the riot police handling things?
Well, they're just going into the crowds and picking people out and pulling them away and using their batons to beat them. We've seen this at protests here in Moscow before. Summer 2019, when people came out to the streets to protest candidates not being allowed to participate in parliamentary elections. But they weren't the numbers that are out today, but the police tactics were pretty similar, pretty brutal, beating with police batons. People are then detained and taken to the police station for 24 hours and fined. But also there is the threat of criminal prosecution for people. From those demonstrations in 2019, also back in 2012, there was a long case where some people ended up being organising and participating in a riot, and some of them faced jail terms of between 1 and 3 years. People are taking a very out here onto the streets, but I think they feel that they are protected by the large numbers that are here, and you see a lot of signs where Alexei Navalny is not afraid. I am not afraid either.
Diana Magnay there giving us the latest, speaking to my colleague Samantha Washington. Here, the government has rejected calls from doctors